Hello, students and dear colleagues. I'm back with the second part of my lecture on Marxist perspective on sociology of health, or Marxist perspective on understanding health, medicine, disease, and healthcare. In the first part, we discussed the first two questions of my presentation, that is, what do we understand by Marxist or conflict perspective, and what are the main arguments of Marxist perspective in the domain of sociology of health. Right now, we will pick up from the second question, that what are the main arguments of Marxist perspective in the domain of sociology of health. As we could not cover all the arguments or all the subsections of this particular section, and then we will proceed further. So you may remember we discussed the main concepts of Marxist perspective, and then we also discussed some of the major arguments. Let me recapitulate you. So we had a discussion on these basic concepts. Basically society, base structure, superstructure, mode of production, then class, then profit, class consciousness, dialectics, etc. Then we discussed some of the important arguments which are actually presented when we explore sociology of health from the perspective of Marxist sociologists. And then we also try to understand the political economy perspective. And now we will begin from here, Marx and Engels on disease. So the most important contribution that Marx has made, and basically Marxist perspective is making, is defining the causation of disease. Now let me share with you that even before Marx's close friend, Friedrich Engels, has written a wonderful book. Now, Engels, in his book, The Condition of Working Class in England in 1844, which got translated in English in 1974. In that particular book, Engels has written that how the living conditions in England were extremely hostile for the working class, and how those extremely hostile working conditions were responsible for causation of disease. The outbreak of plague in England is a remarkable example of the social production of disease. So Marxists argue that disease is the outcome of a capitalist economic system. The key test in Marxist tradition is Engels, The Condition of Working Class in England in 1844. Engels argues that disease is the direct outcome of capitalist pursuit of profit at the expense of safety. Now, this is the core argument. Engels argues that disease is the direct outcome of capitalist pursuit of profit at the expense of safety. Now, how do they define safety? Safety here refers to basic amenities like housing conditions and food quality. That means they say that the capitalist mode of production is actually not taking care of safety of the workers, and that is the living condition and food quality and all other basic amenities of the workers. And if the basic requirements of the workers are not fulfilled, then certainly that is going to affect their health very adversely, and actually causation of disease is a natural consequence of that. So this is the core argument. Now, Raphael, Brand, and Rioux argue that there is a contradiction between the search of profit and ensuring the safety of workers. So why is it that the capitalist class is not taking the safety measures? Because there is some kind of clash of interest or contradiction. Why? The capitalist mode of production actually produces disease, or disease is a result of the capitalist mode of production, because the focus is not on providing the required living conditions or the necessary living conditions of the working class, but the focus is on making profit. And this is what is generally known as the social production of disease. This could be directly, in terms of physical, chemical, or biological pathogens at the workplace. Now, because of lack of safety and lack of those proper livelihood conditions, two things may happen. One is in the physical atmosphere, so it will be in terms of physical, chemical, or biological pathogen at the workplace, or in terms of stress or risk of accident as a result of the increasing intensification and fragmentation of work and alienation from the workplace. So whether either it is going to create disturbances in the physical environment or mentally through stress or through alienation kind of thing. Then they argue, for example, that morbidity and mortality are higher among individuals doing routine type of work requiring low levels of skills than among individuals working in jobs that demand a larger number of skills and which allow for some type of control over one's own work. That means people who have better skills or who have larger control over their own work, they are not suffering, they are not victim of their work. And basically those who are working at a lower strata, or those who don't have much control over their work, or simply those who are actually coming to, those who belong to the working class, they do not have much control, and their morbidity and mortality is higher. Then we come to next point, that is Marxist approach on medicine and medical profession in capitalist society. So earlier they talked about causation of disease. Now they're talking about medicine and medical profession, especially in the capitalist class. In a Marxist approach, the function of medicine is the maintenance of the capitalist system. Now this is a huge argument. Actually, they say that medicine is again a bourgeois production, right? And it is a tool for maintaining the class identity. The function of medicine is maintenance of capitalist system. The medical profession controls labor through its control of sick certificate. Now, you may remember we talked about sick certificate, sick roll in the functionalist perspective. There, Parsons is saying that the doctors are actually the gatekeepers of health because they provide sickness certificate. Now, the Marxist framework is saying that they apply certain control over sick certificate. And those who are ill or those who are not ill, this is a kind of control that the medical profession is enjoying. And the medical profession controls labor through its control of sick certificate, while the theories of disease, it develops and enforces, individualize the cause of disease and ignore social factors. Now, one thing is this, that they control through the sickness certificates. And second thing, which is again a very serious charge, is this, that they individualize the causes of disease. So basically, when a disease is caused, then there are two possible interpretations. One is that the disease is caused because of the individuals, or the individuals are themselves responsible for the causation of the disease. Or the second interpretation could be this, that the actually social factors are responsible. So what the Marxist sociologists suggest here is this, that in capitalist system, actually the medical profession is used to individualize the disease. That means to state that the workers are individually responsible for the poor condition of health or the causation of disease. And they categorically ignore the social factors. The social factors means the larger environment or the larger ecology which is created. And for, as the Marxist sociologists explain, that the larger environment is created for maximization of the profit. So medical knowledge and technology do not have a separate existence from capitalist social relations. So they say that medical knowledge and technology are also part of the capitalist social relations. In the Marxist perspective, medicine plays both an economic and ideological role. As we have seen it here, it's playing both the economic role as well as the ideological role. Now, this is further elaborated here. 4 points have been mentioned. First is this: medicine is the object-centered rather than person-centered, treating the human being as things. Now, medicine is basically, when we talk about patients or persons, then they are subject, they are human beings. But medicine is not treating them as human beings. Rather, medicine is treating them like an object. So it's an object centered. That is objectification of the body. It's not that body is an object, but this is objectification. You can say the commodification of the body. Right. The second one is the disease is seen as a condition to be treated by chemical or electronic intervention to restore balance in the body rather than outcome of social relationship. Now, disease is seen as a condition. Look, basically, disease is seen as a because of the causation is seen in terms of chemical or whatever pathogens are there, and the remedy or the treatment is also seen in terms of those interventions and not in terms of the humanitarian or the social relationship. So the social relationships, certainly they're talking about the kind of relationship that they have with the mode of protection, because you need to remember how do they define good health. When they are talking about good health, they also talk about the relationship between human beings and the material conditions, right? So here they are focusing on the social relationship also. The third point is this: health is defined as fitness to carry out social role, particularly the ability to sell labor. Now, this is a very a specific statement. Health is defined as fitness to carry out social role, and when it is mentioned that it is social role, then actually the ability to sell labor. That means to perform one's duties as a worker, because the work of a working class person is very necessary for the survival of the capitalist system. So why do the capitalists want the workers to remain fit? So that they can continue to work as workers in the overall system of production. And then medicine focuses on the individual and the individualistic conception of lifestyle. And then it actually results in individualization. So when they are individualized, then the larger social mechanism or processes are actually shadowed. So Marxist sociologists say that individualization of disease is actually somehow ignoring the social ills caused because of the bourgeois class or the capitalist mode of production. So these are very important arguments. Then we'll talk about the Marxist concepts to the study of health and healthcare. So Navarro has made again very important statements. So according to Navarro, the capitalist state's involvement in healthcare brings about three things. We need to understand all the three things separately. Navarro is talking about three things. It reproduces the class structure. So capitalist state's involvement in healthcare brings about three things. When capitalism and healthcare are coming together, then three things are happening. First, reproduction of the class structure. That means medicine and healthcare system is helping in reproduction of class structure. Remember, when they talk about education, education for the Marxist sociologist is also used for reproduction of the class structure, and here medicine or healthcare system is also used for reproduction of the class structure. Then it is reproduction of individualistic ideology. Individuals are responsible for this, and individuals need to be blamed for this, right? Blaming the victim kind of mindset, right? And then third one is it reproduces alienation. Now alienation, we know, we have understood alienation when a person is getting dissociated with the work, the process of work, the larger environment of work, and then ultimately himself or herself. And this is known as alienation, and the four stages of alienation are these, right? So the fourth stage, when a worker is getting dissociated, detached from himself or herself, is the extreme form of alienation. And they are saying that to reproduce alienation, right? Now, how does it happen? The first of these outcomes is realized via the hierarchies among health workers. So they say that there are health workers, but some kind of hierarchy is prevailing. So doctor, paramedical, nursing staff, etc., etc., and then some sort of hierarchy is there. The second point is this: with respect to ideology, state involvement in healthcare sustains ideas and practices which suggest that the cause of ill health reside within the individual. This is individualization of disease and blaming the victim. And the third one is biomedicine, as it is practiced in modern capitalist economies, rarely focus on the economic and political factors responsible. The economic and political factors are not actually held responsible for causation of disease, which in sociological context, or if you follow the social determinants of the disease sort of thing, we get to know that the social environment, economic and political factors are very much responsible. But actually, the argument of the Marxist sociologist is this, that biomedicine is actually giving a cover up. It's giving a cover up. They are very critical of the biomedical system. And finally, state involvement in healthcare reproduces alienation. So alienation is reproduced. In modern capitalist economies, doctors and other health professionals are the governors and experts. As a result, their clients may feel isolated from the means by which they might recover their health and well-being. Now, extending the argument on mental health, alienation can affect not only the worker's health physically and mentally in terms of exhausting the body and the concentration of the mind required to work, but also emotionally. So basically, Marx talk about alienation and then relate this alienation with the health condition of people. And we know that when in the fourth stage of alienation, people get dissociated with their own self, and that is the actually condition of mental health or mental illness, or the extreme form of mental illness. So they directly relate the condition of alienation with the condition of health or mental health. So we understand that alienation is an extreme form of mental health. From the above, it can be said that conflict theories increase our awareness of inequalities of race, class, and gender, as these issues influence people's access to healthcare. So basically, they are talking about the conflict theories are talking about the inequalities, the structural inequalities existing in the society, and how those inequalities are actually related to the health inequalities. They also inform us about the problems associated with healthcare becoming big business. So how corporatization and privatization of healthcare is there, that becoming a business houses. However, some analysts believe that the conflict approach is unduly pessimistic about the gains that have been made in health study. Yes, even this is stated here in my book. I have mentioned this point very categorically. I've given reference of my book also, the later part of this study. So this is a very pessimistic assessment of the healthcare situation. Actually, we in our day-to-day life, we know that there are several advantages, so many advantages of the biomedical medicine or the biomedical perspective. We get benefited by them almost every walk of life. But however, the Marxist sociologists have tried to understand the larger context, or have tried to observe the things which are beyond the observation of common people. We'll come to these points at a later stage also. There is another topic that we need to talk about, and that is medicalization. And in that topic, basically, we will understand that how this biomedical intervention is often leading to a complete control over the human social life. So biomedical medicine, although they have made certain advantages and they have provided certain benefits, but if we see them at a larger level, then basically they are making individuals, victim of several other things. People like Ivan Illich, they're talking about heterogenesis, and they're talking about the medicine, the diseases which are caused by medicine, right? So there are several critiques, so many things that we will take up at a later stage. But as of now, we are saying that we agree to the fact that, although the Marxist sociologist or the conflict theorist identify several hidden processes prevailing in the domain of health and medicine, but very often these appear to be very pessimistic, and we need to avoid some of those pessimistic arguments in our real life. So now we need to examine these things critically also. There are few criticism. No, despite all this, it can be said that the use of conflict theory in medical sociology has several limitations. There are several limitations. Now, what are those limitations? All health situations are not affected by the conflict in the society. Yes. I mean, they have been examining every health situation from this conflict perspective, but that is not true. People may suffer from disease or may not be healthy because of various reasons, which in any way may not be linked with the politics, class conflict, interest group competition, and others, right? So there can be several other reasons or causes, and in sociology we know that the Marxist perspective is generally identified as a determinist perspective, right? Monocausality. But Weber long back has established multiple causation or multiple causes of a social phenomenon. So we can say that only economic factors or only conflict related factors are not responsible for causation of disease. There can be several other causes which are not directly linked with these things, but the Marxists have failed to understand those things. Then we bring the functionalist perspective here. Functionalists reject the conflict model and talk about the consensus model of society. As we know, functionalist approach is out and out a rejection of the conflict perspective, and so the causes which have been explained by the conflict theorists have been rejected by functionalists, and they very often they consider we won't go beyond this. Symbolic interactionists, they're talking about the processes involved, the micro level processes involved. Symbolic interactionists focus more on the interactions taking place at individual and group level and reject the idea of over dominance of the macro structures. The major figures in early medical sociology working in the symbolic interactionist tradition were Strauss and Goffman. We talked about Strauss and Goffman in some of the early lectures when we talked about nature and scope of sociology, right? So they have been talking about these things, and they reject, actually symbolic interactionists also reject the arguments put forward by the conflict school, and the interpretivist focus more on subjective experiences of living. So basically, when they talk about subjective experience, there are several things which can be raised here. Several points could be raised. They also talk about the prevalence of disease among the middle or upper class. Basically, if you follow the Marxist perspective, then we think that perhaps only the working class is suffering from disease and illness, and the upper class is not suffering. But we know that the upper class is suffering, rather very often they are suffering more, right? There are different types of disease, so they are not free from all the causes of disease. And for that, the interpretivists have been trying to understand the overall living conditions and the subjective experiences. And finally, the pluralists reject the idea of monocausality and talk about multi-causality. So in every sphere of life, including health and medicine. So last point, what is the overall contribution of Marxist perspective on issues related to understanding of health, disease, medicine, and healthcare? We have seen that the critics have rejected many of the arguments of the Marxist sociologists. So finally, how to conclude the whole thing? 4 points we can talk about. The conflict theorist in medical sociology did not deny the fact that modern healthcare system has played an important role in improving the health status of population. So basically, uh, even the conflict theorists cannot deny this fact that, that the modern healthcare has provided several amenities and facilities. However, we know that those facilities which are very important, but those facilities are not equally available to each and every segment of society. Actually, the Marxists intervene here. They are not denying the contributions made by the medical sciences or the biomedical sciences, but they say that they say that these interventions are not equally accessible to all, and because of these things there are inequities and inequalities which are created and generated. So they don't deny the benefits coming from biomedical perspective, but they say that they, although the benefits are coming, but they reach to the society unequally, and this creates further inequality. Now that is the point. Therefore, from the conflict perspective, the inequality inherent in our society is responsible for unequal access to medical care. The second thing that they argue that because the society is already having several inequalities, and medicine is operating as a tool to further those inequalities. So on the one side, medicine is creating inequality, and on the other side, it is becoming a tool to further or perpetuate the other inequalities. And now, in 1982, basically a study was conducted in England, and that is known as the Black Report, not because of the color, but because of the name. And it was on inequalities, and it has shown that in Britain, despite supposed equal access to health services, uh, there were serious forms of inequalities and equities prevailing in England. So although England followed, some sort of equal access to healthcare services, but despite that, the working class or the poor were suffering or victim of this illness or disease. So this has shown that the biomedical is actually creating more inequalities. And the last point is this, that the Marxist approach helps to understand the continuation of poor health outcome among the deprived and marginalized social categories. So if we observe, if we take care of the larger health environment, if we have empirical studies and we have health statistics, we get to know that who are the worst victim of poor health outcome. Invariably they are the poor. Even in Indian context, if we go by the uh, NFHS figures, we get to know that the marginalized sections, the scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, and then women, and then children or old age people, they are the major victim of poor health outcome. So this actually somehow confirms the arguments put forward by the Marxist sociologists. So this is basically end of the arguments that we are putting forward to understand Marxist perspective. I have taken these arguments from several books, and basically many of these arguments are given in my book also, Sociology of Health. So uh, because of time constraints, it was not possible for me to present all these arguments in their totality, but I have selectively presented those arguments so that the larger environment could be understood. Thank you very much for watching this lecture, and here are the references, and I have highlighted my book because if you want to understand these things at length, you may need to go through that particular book. And then thank you very much for watching these things. If you have doubts or questions, then you can ask those questions in the YouTube channel. I'm asking you to mention your question in the channel so that those questions could be seen by other people also, or and the answers will reach to other persons also, right? So thank you very much. Do like my lectures and share so that they can reach to the maximum number of needful people. Thank you. now I'm going to stop share, and then I'm going to stop recording.